not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns.
Hey guys, this is Chase. I'm that guy with the gloves. And what are we doing today? Well, I am partaking in the Custom Underground Season 3 tournament, which is basically 16 people, amateurs and pros. So 16 amateurs, 16 pros. There's some other guys thrown in there just as like alternates and for other projects and stuff like that. But basically, this is put on by Mad Reaper, and I believe the Great One is his name. I'm not too familiar with him, but seems like a real nice guy. Anyway, subscribe to their YouTube channel. They've got all the details and all the tournament brackets and how everything is going and everything like that. Also follow them on Instagram, follow their individual pages as well. That'd be nice of you. So basically, I'm partaking in a custom figure tournament. That's why videos have kind of slowed down again. I'm just really trying to focus on this one thing, trying to make the best customs I can. So for the first round, it was masked wrestlers. Basically, you could take an already pre-existing figure like Rey Mysterio, or you can make something from the ground up like Mortis, Psychosis, Luchasaurus, Suicide. Jesus Christ, BEW, you are an absolute madman and I love you for it. Seriously, you gotta be the best customizer in the game, hands down. At least in my opinion, you're a good friend and I absolutely have loved watching you progress through the last couple of years. I hope I don't end up in the finals against you. I hope I don't end up in the finals at all, because I'm pretty certain I'm going to get blown out of the water by Nick's Toys, who I'm up against next. Jesus. Yeah, I really don't want to go up against BEW, because I'm going to have to go like to that next level. Anyway, so what do we got going on here today? Well, for the first round of the tournament, like I said, it was masked wrestlers, and I chose something I've been wanting to make for a number of years now, and that is the Joker attire Rey Mysterio from WrestleMania 25, when he thoroughly defeated JBL in under a minute to win the Intercontinental Championship. Yes, he did get beaten up beforehand, but that was because JBL cheap shotted him, of course. But Rey made a valiant comeback and whooped that ass. So I didn't have time or really the desire to make his entrance attire. I hated that stupid wig that he wore. It was just terrible. The coat and the vest looked awesome, and the playing cards I would have liked to have made, but again, I'm not good at fabric, so I just decided not to, and I didn't really have the time anyway. Like, seriously, like the midnight it was due that Wednesday, so like this is late night Tuesday, I was just still painting away at that mask, trying to get it as close to somewhat perfection as I could. But let's just jump into the figure. Also, I have a custom belt I'm going to show off here. This is for Wrestling Hero Figs. He is the one that purchased this Rey Mysterio figure from me. And also, I just have some other Rey Mysterios in the background. I have this Avatar attire one from WrestleMania 26. I did a fix-up on it and switched out the arms. Now he's got bulkier, longer arms. We got the Flash Rey Mysterio here. I just picked that up recently. And I have a Batman Rey Mysterio custom I still want to do, but I got the parts from the basic and I did the swaps. Just haven't had time to paint it yet. But let's get into Joker Rey and start putting some smiles on people's faces. Primarily Wrestling Hero Figs, because this is now his figure. Alright, so here is our Joker Rey Mysterio. Originally, I bought a head cast from My Damn Toys. It was an all-black Rey Mysterio mask where he had a smiling expression with the mouth open. I wanted to use that for this figure because I really thought that head sculpt was perfect, scan, or whatever you want to call it. We'll just say head scan. I thought that head scan was perfect. There was a lot I could do with it, and sadly, I completely botched it on my first attempt, and the head was ruined. It was beyond salvageable. And I got so frustrated with myself that I actually tried to back out of this tournament because I didn't think I was going to have time to finish it. But I spoke with my lady, spoke with the guys over at the Custom Underground, and I was able to salvage this custom. I used the head from the Elite Series 24 Rey Mysterio, the Day of the Dead one. It's one of my favorite heads that they've ever done, minus the placement of the teeth, but we'll just, I've already talked about that ad nauseum years ago. But anyway, I did use that head, and I sculpted all of these little details on the mask. I did get docked a few points because I didn't do any tattoo work with this Rey Mysterio, and they were just saying it was a modified version of the mask. Well, it is and it isn't, because there's just a lot of work that went into this. It wasn't me just repainting a Rey Mysterio mask, but I could see that they more or less wanted me to sculpt a mask completely from nothing, and I can't do that with Rey Mysterio. I mean, unless I went and bought the WCW figure without the mask on, if I wanted to make a Rey Mysterio figure, it's got his face in there. So I didn't really agree with that criticism, but I will agree that the mask didn't turn out exactly like I wanted it, and that the paintwork is not as clean as it should be compared to the rest of the figure. So here's our closer look at the mask. It's not perfect by any stretch of the word, because there's a lot I wanted to do with it, and I just didn't have the time. And it was a rough custom. Trying to sand down all this stuff was just a nightmare. Oh God, it was horrible. But I'm actually really happy with how a lot of this turned out. It's like I've gotten over a lot of my own criticisms, yeah. But I still wish I could have done a better job on it. Primarily the cross. It comes down to more of a point, and I think it was a little bit bigger than this. I didn't have the right colors for the jewel pieces, especially the one in the middle, so I just kind of had to make something off the top of my head. You know, this damn coronavirus thing, it sucks. I really wish it wasn't going on, but obviously it's necessary to keep everybody safe. But not being able to go to a hobby store and find paint that you need has been a real downer during this thing, but doing the best I can. So anyway, what we did here, I actually painted flesh tone around the eyes and then put very thin layers of black over it, so you can just barely see some flesh tone peeking out around his eyes, because that was kind of sort of accurate to the Joker makeup that he had on. So yeah, I primed this thing with white Citadel spray paint, and then painted it white again just to give it that rougher look. And then I painted all of the line work that you can see here just to make it, give it those little details that the mask had. All these little question mark Mysterio pieces on the left and right, these were so hard to do. Oh my God. I had to restart this top one so many times because I didn't get it. I don't know what it was, but it's like I just couldn't figure this one out. So sculpting it just took a long damn time, but eventually I got the hang of it, and I think it turned out very well. Could I have done a better job? Of course I could have. One thing that really upset me was when I was doing this, I actually cut off most of the eagle or the falcon or whatever those are supposed to be, these like bird wings things that Rey Mysterio has on his mask. I don't know what the official name of it is. I know it's just part of the design that he's always had. But so my original thought was to cut them off and thin them down a little bit, because originally on the mask, like, they go all the way up to the top, and that's not how it looks on the Joker mask. They're a little bit smaller. So I cut them, but it just didn't look right. And I was like, crap, I cut way too much of it off. So the only thing I could do to fix it was to either remold it from scratch or do what I did. I cut this part off of another Rey Mysterio figure. Actually, I think it's the Elite Series 1 that I had. I got it off of Mercari for pretty cheap, but the figure was in rough condition. So I took that head, cut off the little eagle things, and then shaved them down as thin as I could get them without them ripping or tearing. And I applied them to the mask, and I think it just added something to it. It's got that rougher look, like this mask was just put together from, scrap and stuff like that, or just from other pieces that you normally wouldn't see on a Mysterio figure. I really like it. I like how that turned out. If I make this one again, which I definitely will, I probably won't do that again, though. I will try to keep the original ones on there and just go with my original plan of just cutting them down, but not cutting too much of them off like I did. So here with, again, this was all white with like the black teeth and everything. So I painted it the flesh tone, and then I put the white paint under the chin and around the mouth and stuff like that. So then I painted it mostly white with a little bit of flesh peeking out, and then I just dry brushed a little, like little tiny amounts of red across the lips and the face right there. You didn't want too much. You still wanted to see that white kind of peeking through. So I was I was very happy with that. Oh my God, the back of the head, this is what caused me the most stress, especially with that first one, was trying to get the shape of this, of these straps right, because I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be, really. I mean, in the pictures and stuff like that, it looks like a damn face hugger, slapped to his head. I think I've seen like the Great Muta, and I'm pretty certain it's like Great Muta that has this style on his mask, and I don't know if Rey Mysterio was trying to replicate that or what he was going for with this mask, but I did the best I could, especially with the gold. I mean, the gold didn't match the rest of the attire that he had. It looked like a weird, worn out kind of almost flesh tone looking gold. It's hard to describe, but I tried my best to recreate that, and the hair was a lot of fun, though. I mean, I painted all that flesh tone and then painted the hair over it, added a black wash to it just to give it that green. I mean, the hair looks so cool. Rey Mysterio did not need that stupid wig during his entrance. I mean, okay, no, it's just getting off topic now. The ears I cut off of an Elite 24 Ryback head. I just had an extra one. I was like, I don't plan on making a Ryback custom anytime soon. Because as you can tell from the photos and stuff like that, Mysterio's ears are poking out from that mask. And unfortunately, as far as I know, Mattel does not have a Rey Mysterio figure where you can see his ears. So I had to customize that and get those things to poke out of there. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very stressed out about that, but I think I was yeah, I can't talk today. I got the coronavirus. No, I don't. I was somehow able to make that work. Getting into the rest of the figure here, the suspenders were just that leather material that I used to make my custom ring skirts. I just cut some of those off. I had to do it a couple times just to get the measurements right. And I actually used the back side of it. I didn't use the smoother leather side. I just thought this material stood out more, and it looks more like suspenders. It's got that rougher edge to it. Painted on all the buckles and stuff like that, or the little metal pieces on here. The back piece right here, I don't really know what that's called on suspenders. It's just kind of like almost like a brace or a holster or whatever that just keeps the straps together. So I molded that. So I molded that and painted it up to look like that little sun type thing. Almost looks like Batista's belly tattoo. So the judges of the tournament, they were super impressed with the chain work and the pants. Very grateful for that, because the pants were a nightmare. They were a nightmare to do. The belt went pretty smoothly. I just molded that on with epoxy, painted the buckle, painted the strap gold. That took a lot of layering to do. The chains on here, surprisingly, they worked really well. I just got some necklace chain from Walmart, cut them into the right sizes, and stuck them on there with some super glue. And it was interesting to do that because I didn't want to put too much super glue on there. I didn't want you to be able to see it and then me have to sand it down. So what I did was I took a toothpick, put some super glue on it, put the chain right where it was supposed to go, like I held the figure down flat, and then just dabbed the super glue into it and held it there with the toothpick for a few seconds, and then slowly pulled the thing out, and they stuck. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. The purple on the pants took several coats to do, light paint over many, many times. Unfortunately, disaster struck when I took the legs completely off of this figure and found out to my horror and shock that it uses that terrible T-style ball joint. A lot of customizers will know what those are. A lot of these figures, especially with like this Rey Mysterio, the Elite 24 body, he's got just a normal ball joint in there for the hips. Makes it very easy to swap out, and the articulation, I think, is much better than these. Like with this Rey Mysterio one, he uses the T-style joints in there. I'll have to see if I can find a picture of it from Mattel somewhere. But I hate that joint so much. Basically what happened was I heat this thing up so much, and whoever had it before me just obviously didn't take the greatest care of it. I wish I would have taken before and after photos of it. But when I took off these joints, they completely fell apart. So these middle hip joints, I had to super glue them back together. Like I had to put the leg with half of the joint on, and then put these joints, put this front part of the hip joint back into it, and then super glue it. Now that messed up the figure somewhat. So that's why a lot of the paint around there and around the hips aren't as smooth as they once were, especially on like the back side of his butt and stuff like that. I had to go through and fix all of that. And putting paint on top of paint or trying to get it to match it up from like a level perspective is really hard for me to do. I've had to do it several times and you can always tell it just doesn't look right. But the rest of the pants I think turned out very well. I'm so happy with the 619 with the little buckle print going down on his pants and with the like holes that he had here at the bottom. But yeah, the 619 here, there's two different shades of gold in here. In fact, I was actually going to put a third one in there, a much darker tone. I just thought maybe that would have been a little too much because I thought it was just a solid gold, but it's not. I mean, if you look at it almost looks like, I don't want to say tiger striped or like a leopard print or something like that. And I couldn't find any more reference photos for it. And I was watching like an HD broadcast from WWE Network and I could not find good photos of this. And sadly, there's no like photo shoot that I could find that Rey did in this attire. So that was unfortunate. I just had to match it up as best as I can. And I think it turned out okay. Put some neon green paint in there, same as what's on the suspenders. And it turned out pretty well. Now this side of the pants, I actually had to redo this twice. From a lot of the photos that I was seeing and the video I was seeing, I thought that the Rey on the side of his pants was diagonal, or, you know, just off center the way that the 619 was. And it turns out I saw the entrance video and I saw a couple of other shots and stills from the video of him versus JBL. Sadly, it's not like that. It was straight, or it was, you know, going down straight like this. So what I can't talk. What I ended up doing, I also couldn't find pictures of this font anywhere. So thankfully, looking at the pants as long as I did, I realized it's the same font that's on the Flash Rey. So what I did was just took this, turned it that way, copied it straight down, and voila, there you go. I think that turned out pretty damn well. And the articulation held up pretty well as well because I went through and I sanded the hell out of these joints. So you could pose and do whatever you want with this figure, and those joints hopefully will not chip. They haven't done it on the back of the knees. They haven't done it on the inside of the knees. The hips are going to be a little bit of a different story just because of how close they are together, especially with those terrible T-joints. And this leg, unfortunately, that T-joint, it's made it so that the articulation can't go out all the way like it needs to. It can only go out about that far now. But this leg, no problem. He could get those kicks in. So yes, this Joker Rey was purchased by Wrestling Hero Figs, one of my good friends. Martin, you're such a good guy. I love your channel. I love seeing you interact with your kids and how much they're just into what you're doing. What do you do for a living, man? Reach out to me. I want to know because you got a pretty good gig going on there, man. So there's a thing I've been doing for the last couple of years. I did one for Captain McKay, for Venomine Figs, Chick Foley. Daydream Figures was my latest recipient of sort of a surprise custom title where I just slapped together a custom belt and surprise people that I am friends with and friendly with and accounts that I like, and I just want to give them something to be like, hey, thanks for being a part of the Fig Life community and thank you for inspiring me in some way to keep going, and here you go. And like, especially with like the Chick Foley title that I made for her, like she never reached out or asked me about that. I just was like, oh man, it would be so cool if she had a championship belt that had like Bret Hart's sunglasses on it with like a pink flannel because of, you know, Chick Foley and stuff like that. So I just get inspiration and I want to make it for these people. I want to make it for these guys. And so I wanted to do one for Wrestling Hero Figs, and I attempted one about 2 years ago, and it sadly just did not work out. But I was able to knock this out in about 3 days. So this is a custom Wrestling Hero Figs Championship belt. This was made from the Attitude Era Big Circle Winged Eagle title. It's one of my favorite belts, and I'm super happy with how this turned out. Now, Wrestling Hero Figs, he is a huge Batman mark, as am I. And I've always wanted to make a title that incorporated Batman in some way, shape, or form. So what I did was I got rid of the WWE logo up top, put Wrestling Hero Figs logo right there. I sculpted Batman with his arms opening up his cape. So the wings on that eagle are now the bat wings, or the wings of Batman's cape. Thought about maybe molding those, but I really liked how that looked painted black, so I just left it alone. I did mold in the arms and stuff like that, because originally I was going to kind of paint the arms and make it so that you could clearly see that was Batman. Put the big, awesome Michael Keaton Batman symbol down there, and it's actually a different shade of gold. It's just slightly darker in tone than the rest of the belt. And originally down here it was just going to say Wrestling Hero Figs, but I could not get it to fit there. I tried several times. It's a long name to try to make it fit on such a tiny little nameplate. And I'm not a decal user, at least not yet anyways. So what I did was I just put wrestling in gold at the very top underneath Batman's eyes, and put Hero Figs down on the plate, and I tried to fix the little championship banner down here as much as possible, because it did get scuffed up a little bit when I was working. Added some little black studs and highlights to the main plate. The side plates, the little crest right here, I replaced the WWE logo, put Wrestling Hero Figs' crest right there. Same for this side over here. Bit of a varying degree in quality on there, just because I have the worst time painting yellow, and I have the worst time trying to paint his logo, so I did the best I could. So side plates here, super happy with how these turned out. I made the Batman animated series logo, or title card, or whatever that was, with all the white replaced with gold. Super happy with how that turned out. And then I've got a Joker card here, as best as I could do the Mark Hamill Joker, and I think just really, really love that. Originally, I was planning this to be kind of like an amalgamation of everything I know Wrestling Hero Figs loves. You know, he loves wrestling, he loves Batman, he loves DC, he loves Marvel, he loves Ninja Turtles, horror movie figures. I was planning to incorporate all of that. So the strap is actually sort of a background taken from Turtles in Time. I purposely made it a dark kind of purple with the clouds and everything, and the buildings, the colors that they are and stuff like that. It's intentionally supposed to look like the intro to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. But when I was, kind of putting this thing together, I just said, you know what, let's stick to one theme, even though the strap will be from Turtles in Time. The plates will all be from Batman, because I'm pretty certain Batman is his most beloved property. So, yeah. Anyway, I also decided to shave down the plates just to see if the strap could go on a little bit better, and I think it does. I think it's much more flexible. It just, to me, looks better once it's like kind of clipped into itself. I don't know why. I just think that looks so much better. All right, guys, so I think that's going to wrap things up pretty nicely. Wrestling Hero Figs, I'm going to get these things shipped out to you as soon as I can, Monday or Tuesday at the latest. And thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Like I said, be sure and follow Wrestling Hero Figs. Also follow the Custom Underground, their YouTube, their Instagram, and the affiliates accounts, just to keep up on the progress and everything that's going on with that tournament. It's been a lot of fun. I'm hopefully going to be able to nail whatever this next figure is, and I will provide a video of whatever the figure is once I get that completed. I also am working on a new version of the Hall of Pain, so hopefully that'll make a comeback someday soon. I'm going to be taking about 2 weeks off from work just to kind of self-isolate myself during this coronavirus pandemic we still got going on. I'm not sick. I'm not feeling sick or anything like that. I think it would just be good to get out of the workforce for a little bit, because my job is considered essential, but I've got vacation time. I was originally going to take it with my lady, and then obviously plans got scrapped when everything was getting closed down. So yeah, I'll be home working on stuff and hopefully making content. Anyway, this was Chase, that guy with the gloves. Thank you so much. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you next time.